Jeffrey Gibson is representing the United States at the most important contemporary art exhibition in the world, and he has taken over the entire U.S. pavilion at the Venice Biennale. If you're a casual viewer or lover of art, Gibson might not be a household name. But the art world has been all abuzz about his installation, so I thought you should know. Let's get into it. Jeffrey Gibson has been an artist that's kind of been lurking on the surface for years. But with his most recent exhibition, he seems to have busted through, and everybody is talking about him. Gibson was born in Colorado and is of Choctaw and Cherokee descent. This makes him the first native artist to have a solo exhibition at the U.S. Pavilion in Venice. If you're not familiar with the Venice Biennale, it's widely considered the most important contemporary art exhibition on the planet. It takes place every 2 years, and at its heart is a giant group exhibition curated by a different curator for each iteration. It's centered around two large pavilions, the Giardini and the Arsenale, which is a former shipyard. And it's here where each new curator presents a sort of State of the Union address for art. It serves as a snapshot of what is happening in the world of contemporary art today. But surrounding the main exhibition space in the Giardini is a series of about 30 national pavilions. This is where individual countries can present different exhibitions outside of the main exhibition halls. And many countries choose to highlight just one artist, which is the case for the US Pavilion. Artists who have been recently featured in the American Pavilion include Mark Bradford, Martin Puryear, and Simone Lee. So yeah, it's a big deal. So this year Gibson was selected, and that selection process is a whole other story we can get into in a future video. But Gibson takes indigenous artisanal handcraft, think beadwork, leatherwork, and quilting, and combines that with narratives around contemporary resistance and protest. I like the way his London gallery phrased it. It's a blend of confrontation and pageantry. Growing up, Gibson moved around a lot. His father worked for the U.S. Department of Defense, but he remained a part of a community, and the community supported him. His graduate education was sponsored by the Mississippi Band of Choctaw Indians, and his chief told him that supporting him being a strong artist made him stronger. His inspiration comes from not just his individual heritage, but music, fashion, and culture. He's looking at things like the traditional native objects that filled his home growing up, and also queer culture and nightlife, including Lee Bowery, who was a fascinating performance artist who certainly deserves their own dedicated video. He often reappropriates both found materials and commercial objects. And this can range from anything from song lyrics to punching bags. For Venice, he titled his exhibition, "The Space in Which to Place Me." And it's been described as a kaleidoscope synthesis of the media and concepts that define Jeffrey Gibson's multidimensional practice. The exterior greets you with murals in his signature colors, coupled with pattern and text. He's transformed the courtyard into a gathering place with his color and large sculpture that monumentalizes the people and the stories that have been historically ignored. Inside, visitors are greeted by towering figures with ceramic heads and made of glass beads, canvas, and felt. The heads recall effigy pots from the Southwest, where his Choctaw and Cherokee forebears originated. Throughout the exhibition, he is pointing to specific historical moments, like the Indian Citizenship Act of 1924, or speeches by Martin Luther King Jr., that ask us to explore the distance between the ideals of American democracy and reality. Gibson collects vintage and antique native-made beadwork and incorporates it into his contemporary sculptures, creating a connection between past and present. The New York Times said of Gibson's art, "Everything is multifaceted. His over-the-top aesthetic is a joyful revolt against the reductiveness of fixed categories and the pressure he's felt both externally and internally to always show up on behalf of Native Americans." That was a long sentence, but I thought it was a good one. If you can make it to Venice before the end of November, I highly recommend you go see this exhibition and the entire Biennale. If that seems too far to travel, he does have projects coming up at both the Metropolitan Museum in New York and at Mass MoCA, and I'm sure that list is going to grow. If you're into all types of sculpture like I am, I'll put a playlist right here that you might be interested in. And to everyone who's still walking, you guys are rock stars. I really appreciate it. So thanks again, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Ciao!